a third of the way into the book, we moved from eastern Canada, where it was absolutely covered in snow from October to May, to western Canada, where it was just green year round, and snow was, you know, the climate was very similar to here, a bit colder, but not a lot colder. And we came for Christmas, and I had not seen my dad. I didn't remember seeing my parents split up when I was 18 months old, and I was 9 years old, and it was just all really exciting. And we were staying in his little house that was on the seafront, which sounds all very glamorous, but it wasn't. It was a shack, I can assure you. So this one morning I woke up, and I closed the front door to my dad's house softly so as not to wake the sleeping household. Leaning on the waist-high edge of the covered porch, I looked out at the ocean. Dark grey water embraced the white clouds at the horizon's margin. The heavy atmosphere drew the briny scent of the driftwood and seaweed-laden beach towards the shore, infiltrating my untainted senses. The tiny hairs of my face bristled as a salty sea mist settled on them. Gentle waves rustled and murmured, crooning to the pebbles on the beach, leaving behind trendles of foam that fizzed around them before sinking into the sand. Following my urge to be closer to the syncopation, I crossed the wide path that led to the narrow beach. I stepped down from the path to the beach, making my way round the driftwood, which rested on the rocks till I reached the damp pebbles which led to the water's edge. As I crunched across them, crabs scuttled sideways, snapping their claws at me in aggressive mock challenges before vanishing under the nearest shadow. Oh, I'm not reading from my book because I like really quite big print, just in case you wondered. A seagull reeled and swept into the water. Paddling up to the water's edge, it clumsily approached me on dry land, tilting its head endearingly to see if I might have a treat to share. I threw a crab which was snapped up hastily, an enigmatic look emerging around the seagull's eyes as it swallowed. Suddenly it took flight, vanishing in moments as the fog wrapped around the white and grey blend of its feathers. I looked around, astonished to see that I too was surrounded by the fog and only able to see the water's edge at the peripheries of the cotton wool wrapped world. Sitting on a large bit of driftwood, I found some seaweed and began to squeeze the dried husks. The air escaped with an addictive muted pop. Periodically, I looked up at my dreamlike surroundings, eyelids lulled, half closed by the peacefulness of it all. I stayed on the beach for a long time, ignoring the creeping dampness which had begun to sink into my bones. Eventually, my mother's voice lured me back into my other world, the one which was redolent with the smells of fresh-baked bread, coffee, and the sound of my brother's delighted giggles at my sudden appearance in the room. I kissed his silky skin, and he blessed me with a splat of his hand, wet from being chewed on by his budding gums. Dad's beard bristled my cheek, and Mum smelled of roses, brewer's yeast, and mint. I don't know why, she just did. She still does. My curls hung damply against my neck and cheeks, and I caught a drip of salty water as it plipped off the end of my nose. Holding it up on the tip of my finger, it seemed to glow as it reflected the dining room light. Overwhelmed by my experiences in the soft fog that morning, I said not a word. My mother, always intuitive to my moods, and who believed children should be given roots and wings, let me cling to my other world till I was able to let go.